I'm gonna try and make this short and get to the point. It might be hard because there's so much going on and it feels like the world is just exploding with rage and anger and pain and fear. And everyone's tired and exhausted. I'm also tired, I'm also exhausted. But you know what? We are going to take a moment to understand some of these aspects, some of this intensity. And we are going to try to dig deep and find out what is the message at this time and what can we do to utilize all of this energy as fuel for beautiful transformation, as fuel for intentional, loving action. So welcome everyone, my name is Jennifer Irene from the Web of Wonder. I'm enjoying this beautiful autumn weather right now. It's both a time right now of beauty of transformation, and at the same time the world is bursting at the seams of what we are able to hold in terms of pain. And with this full moon, so much is coming to the surface. And it's been such an intense time already with the eclipses that we just had, 2 really intense eclipses. Then we had really intense processes already the last couple of months, but especially in March and April, that were super highlighting Chiron. And we've been going through this really long process already of just transforming, of purging, of getting it out, of bringing the stuff to the surface. And that is also because Pluto is in this longer transition period where it is finally moving out of Capricorn, where it has been in for years and years, decades, and moving into Aquarius. But we had a back and forth moment where now Pluto is the last time in Capricorn, and it's in 29 degrees, and at the end of November it will be finally in Aquarius, and we will never experience this Pluto and Capricorn energy again in our lifetimes with the bodies that we have right now. Yeah, because it won't happen again for several hundreds of years. So this is a really big moment, yeah, and Pluto is an intense energy that is really about huge evolutionary change. Yeah, it's also about the powerful forces that are beyond the individual soul, that are beyond the present moment. It has to do with the soul, the immortal and eternal soul, and the bigger movements of life unfolding, the bigger movements of the soul unfolding. So all of these moments right now, all of these intense emotions and these transitions and all of this crazy stuff that's happening in the world, it's also happening as part of this bigger evolutionary process where the soul and what we are collectively experiencing and able to grasp and able to be aware and conscious of is changing. So with these last moments of change, there is so much resistance showing and basically denial. Yeah, we have to go through all of these stages of refusing to accept and then having to accept and then going through the cycles of shame and of guilt, and then once we evolve past the resistance, we can actually start integrating and we can feel the emotions and we can understand the teachings that come with what we are able to feel, what we are able to perceive, and then we can also rebuild trust so that we are able to let go, allow the changes to happen, allow the necessary adaptations to become, and with that, finally allowing the transformation to move forwards, thus letting go of the attachment. And this is a natural process of life, but nature does not exclude pain. Yeah, speaking of something as natural and something life-made does not exclude that it is a painful, messy, horrible process, and that we humans, being part of life, are right now showing some of our darkest sides and are showing some of our most horrible abilities. because we really need to step into that newfound awareness by cultivating a different responsibility that we have not been able to grasp the implications of some of these changes that have already happened in the last decades and even in the last centuries. We are now starting to understand at different levels new conscious feelings of interconnectedness and new conscious understandings of what religions were trying to tell us and then completely failed at, but what is in essence the core of a spiritual observation of the world, of life, and what that implies for us. So let me just get into some of these aspects with the full moon. But as I always say, you don't have to understand astrology. You can totally just look at what's going on in life, and that is showing you exactly what is there mirrored in the sky. But sometimes it helps to just understand that this is connected to bigger movements, and also that things will move, things will shift, things will change, yeah? Because when we observe life, it continues to prove that every single day. What I notice with this intense full moon is that we have 3 really strong oppositions. Of course, we have the opposition between the sun and the moon. That's what makes it a full moon. And that is such an intense opposition because we have the moon there really close to Chiron, which is bringing up again these wounds, these surfaces. It's not exact in conjunction. It's like 3 degrees apart. But I would say that it's still feelable. And we've been working with these Chiron topics already this whole year, so it's also a moment of integration, yeah? How are we using the adaptation of the wounding story that we are telling ourselves again and again, and how have we actually adapted it so that we can now take the route towards integration and essentially also overcome the singularity, just overcome being in the polarity, being stuck on one side of seeing us only as the victim, and on the other side of seeing someone only as the aggressor. And how can we adapt that into our consciousness, into our awareness, into our brains, essentially. We have the sun in Libra, and this is right now us really trying to wrap our heads around justice and how can we collectively be just while also dealing with all of these individual pains, these individual traumas and wounds and stories, and how can we do justice to the self while also doing justice to the other. And this is where really old conflicts are showing, really old patterns are showing, and a lot of demands are being made right now on the self, demands being made on the other. We're like on this quest for truth and justice right now, and at the same time we're like on this inner quest for overcoming the hurt child that wants to stay stuck in what it knows and where it feels comfortable. But this is not just the opposition between the sun and the moon, but both of those aspects are squaring Pluto on one side and Mars on the other side, which is a really intense thing to experience. As I already mentioned, Pluto is already bringing this huge wave of collective change in the last degrees of Capricorn, which is all about the system, which is about what the structures that we build and understanding how to manipulate the earthly realm to create things that are essentially becoming powerful structures. And we see this not only as buildings, but we see this as the buildings of our society, as politics, as companies, as capitalism, things that turned into patriarchy, things that turned into religious supremacy, racial supremacy, and all of these concepts that have been implemented and had been creating structures, really influencing how we are all able to function. And eventually things evolve and change, so these structures are now not able to hold the growth and evolution of our consciousness anymore. So they are needing to be adapted, they are needing to be changed. Some of them are crumbling and breaking down, and this is like a really fearful process for many of us, but it is a collective liberation process. Pluto is moving into Aquarius. And we are then more focused on really understanding the meaning of what it is to be human, how to be really, really open with the complexity of humanity, and really redefining the importance of individualism within a bigger picture. So on the other side, we have Mars in Cancer, which is already quite an intense place for Mars to be in. Yeah, a lot of times it feels as if there's just this like boiling steam, this like water. I really feel also this like thermal energy, like as if even the body is boiling and all of these like gases are being released. And there's this intense craving for action. There's this intense craving for like to do something. Mars is the ability to act, and right now that Mars just like wants to act on that justice, but it also wants to act on that self, and it also wants to act in opposition to the old structures and the things that Pluto is highlighting right now. And it feels very frustrated because there's so many other dynamics right now that it is hard to take those actions. And we need to be careful right now with how those actions are being implemented. Because Mars is not alone, Pluto is not alone, the Sun is not alone, the Moon is not alone. There's a whole collection of aspects that need to be included, and this is always the intense task of balance, of balancing life, of harmonizing, and of transmuting energy, is to really incorporate the complexity and to center ourselves again and again in center points. Yeah, swinging back and forth between the pendulums and finding those center moments of stillness to attune ourselves with the inner self, to attune ourselves again with the deeper knowing, with the deeper truth that is beyond distortions and beyond the wounds and beyond the stories, and really to attune ourselves to that balance point within the soul. Let me speak about the other intense opposition. We have Venus right opposite of Uranus, and this is a very important aspect, I feel, because Venus is also in 29 degrees of Scorpio, and Scorpio is already a very intense energy. Yeah, it's showing us right now our desire. Venus is about what you love, what you desire, what you value, us and you individually and us collectively, how we are attracting and manifesting those desires through our beliefs, but also through our wishes and through how we interpret value, worth, respect, beauty, and essentially the things we want to attract in life. It's the laws of attraction that hold everything, that create everything and then hold it together there. And in this energy of Scorpio, it's really about understanding those things from the perspective of where is a radical phoenix death and rebirth needing to happen and wanting to occur. Where am I, and are we trying to maintain things being hidden in the dark? Where do we really also need to do more deeper diving to understand the deeper layers of a topic, of a subject, of a feeling, of an emotion, of an action? Where are we wanting to dive deeper, needing to dive deeper, and also able to see deeper than ever before, uncovering those hidden truths? And at the same time, there are also things in life that we don't want to be seen, that we are still trying to hide, where we don't want to give up our power, because things being hidden, things being in secrecy, essentially allows manipulation to happen, and it allows power dynamics to stay in place. And these are power dynamics that we as individuals want to maintain with our colleagues, with our friends, with our partners, but also parts of the self want to maintain that from other parts of yourself, so to make it harder for you to change. And of course, in the big picture, this is also what societies are doing, what politicians are doing, what companies are doing, what groups of people are doing, and to try to maintain certain levels of influence. And we can see this happening all over the world. Yeah, things are being deeply uncovered, deeply questioned. The roles are being questioned that individual people have on contributing, on allowing to a culture in which things like war is just being perpetuated and being enforced, being made able because of companies contributing, yeah, because of financial contributions that allow the war to continue, because of material contributions that allow the war to actually be lived out. And beyond that, also like relational contributions that people don't want to give up certain power dynamics, whether that be individuals who are struggling with changing their lives and giving up some of their privileges and sharing some of the like resources that none of us essentially own here on Earth, because it's just one planet that we are all coming from, that we are all literally made and birthed out of the Earth. But yeah, not wanting to change and give up and share those resources like in a fair way with everyone who is here. And then it's also, yeah, about all of those hidden, really dark, deeper, secret, occult reasons for why things like this are also happening. And yeah, that Venus is such a place right now of being able to really deeply feel and sense all of the stuff that is like there underneath, and wanting to like speak about it, bring it up to the surface, calling for it to be seen, yeah, revealing the hidden dirt and revealing the deep hidden secrets. And on the other side, Uranus is there in service of change, and at the same time just like making all of those things be like super radical, being super intense, super sudden, and in very extreme ways, being also very liberating. Yeah, oppositions are not only hard, they're just aspects that are intense because it's two energies that are directly opposing each other, and really like each energy wanting to be entirely the way it is, but ultimately having to compromise. So with these sudden eruptions of change, with these sudden eruptions, we also need to remember what is the love behind what we want to say, what we want to speak about, the action that we want to take. Where is the love beneath that? How can we access the love, the deeper layers, so that our transitions, our changes, our calls for action are infused with a desire that is also true to our soul and also to the collective soul, which essentially wants love to be able to reach the heart of everyone, and for that collective healing to occur. And this aspect is, of course, yeah, also intense, because Venus is in 29 degrees of Scorpio, so it's making a sextile aspect to Pluto, and Pluto is also making a trine to Uranus. So this conversation between Venus and Uranus is really also happening with Pluto right there, making it all more like in flow, expanding the whole process and being like, yes, these are the topics that we have right now. And then there's another opposition. We have Neptune in 27 degrees of Pisces, and in opposition to that, in 25 degrees of Virgo, we have Vesta, the asteroid. And Vesta is the hearth keeper. It's the sacred fire in the center of the soul temple. And it's an aspect that is really calling for awareness of keeping that sacred flame alive, that protective flame, that inner fire that is essentially life, yeah, being alive, that inner fire in your core, that heat that is you and your body and the life being alive. And in opposition to that, Neptune is all about being able to have visions, to have dreams, to be connected to the bigger love and compassion that we can find through that connection, but also containing all of the endless and infinite possibility. And that includes any fear you could ever have. That includes any emotion you could ever feel. That includes like a super overwhelm of not knowing what is reality, of becoming super delusional, of being just completely out there. And it's this balance of understanding which visions, which feelings, which emotions, and how to access the type of love and compassion that enables that sacred flame to be kept alive inside, that is needed to be alive, and that is needed to maintain integrity. Integrity to yourself, integrity to life, integrity to your own dreams and your life and the collective experience that you wish for yourself and for other human beings, for other earth beings, for the plants and the animals and the waters and all of the aspects of life that belong here and are interdependent, interconnected. This is not only an opposition between Vesta and Neptune, but there is what you could call a kite aspect. So on one side there's a sextile and a trine that those two are making to Mars, and on the other side there's a sextile and a trine that those two are making to Venus. So this is again another crazy conversation that Venus and Mars are being now brought into this picture. It's as if there was like a huge family constellation happening of planets in the sky that is just like bringing in the mother, bringing in the father, bringing in the brother and the sister, bringing in the masculine and the feminine, and like asking like, hey, how can we make home a safe place again? How can we make home a sacred place again? How can we actually make Earth a sacred place again, in which we can begin to thrive again, in which we can actually support each other's growth and evolution and meet each other from a place of love and compassion? How can we do that? Which visions enable us to move into that direction, and which visions are actually not helpful to do that? And it's saying, hey, you Mars, where are you wanting to take actions that are not integral? Where are you wanting to just fight in the home, in the heart? Where are you wanting to just be angry and violent because your heart feels hurt right now, but it's maybe then causing visions and feelings to be in place that are not healthy for the inner flame of life to be lit up. And hey, you Venus there on the other side, where are you actually having longings and desires that you are not showing to the world, that you're still afraid to speak about? And where are you manipulating others from a place of fear and power and wanting power and feeling helpless? And where are you denying transformation to happen in a way that is causing illusions, delusions, and fears to manifest themselves deeper? And how can we all of these aspects play together to actually establish the balance and harmony, where each aspect has its rightful place in the system right now, understanding that every single aspect has an important meaning, an important message, an important role. Not all roles look the same right now. And how can that be in service of nourishing visions and dreams and feelings of compassion and empathy that actually allow the sacred flame of integrity to be maintained, to allow life to continue moving towards a place of intention, a place of intention connected to the heart, to the soul, that is ultimately aligning with all of the aspects of this full moon, with allowing these structures to change and adapt and evolve, with allowing like radical decisions to take place. Radical doesn't mean horrible. It just simply means like not doing it just like half, or not doing it just a little bit, but doing it radically, doing it all the way, being complete with an action, being whole with an action. And what have our wounds and the experiences of pain that we have gone through with these processes already, what has that taught us? And how can those teachings finally serve as integration food, as integration medicine? Because now really is the time. Now really is the time. I feel it's such an important moment to listen and to pause and reflect before screaming out an answer, but to just actually listen, integrate that, balance, harmonize, and then gather all of the resources inside of you and decide which actions do I want to take right now, do I need to take right now, collectively, which actions do we want and need to take right now, and then implementing those, staying connected with the heart. And I know that right now there's a lot of pain and suffering, and so many people are feeling so helpless with the ongoing atrocities of the world, with the natural catastrophes, with the hurricanes, with the floodings, with the blatant manipulation that we have experienced from countless governments through countless countries, with the continuous manipulation of capitalistic and patriarchal structures and societies, with the ongoing colonialistic mindsets that are continuing to exploit and enslave people and also kill all over the world, with the ongoing genocide that we are experiencing right now, with the ongoing wars, with the deeply rooted traumas of nations and the deeply rooted problems of greed and anger and lack of love and lack of self-confidence that is allowing all of these things to happen, and that we are right now really trying to find that collective responsibility, that we're trying to find that individual responsibility. And I feel the most important thing right now is that while we are doing that, it is essential to remember that spreading hatred is not helping to stop hatred, and that we are able to understand more and more complexities. We are able to understand more and more how to heal ourselves from trauma. There are more and more people doing healing work, offering healing work, so many different types of healing modalities, be it somatic, therapeutic, psychoanalytic, energetic. It doesn't matter. It's all part of a huge healing process. And what we are doing right now collectively is cutting through those cycles of ongoing hatred. We are cutting through cycles of hatred. And we need to continue to cut through that hatred and to balance and neutralize those emotions. And balancing and neutralizing does not mean that we do not take action where action is due. It means that we continue to speak out, we continue to go and demand from the people that we feel are not doing justice in the world. We need to continue to demand that justice. We need to continue to come together to speak out. We need to continue to fight for the lives of humans and to fight for ending and stopping these horrible crimes that are happening. And we need to do that while also cutting through the cords of hatred. We need to stop the cycle of hatred. And while we speak out our truths, while we speak out our anger, we need to continue to cut through the cycle of hatred and open up that compassion. Compassion not meaning that we allow things to happen, but simply stopping ourselves from continuing a cycle of hate. And by stopping the energies, because we are transmuting those energies. As we feel the pain of the world, we are taking in all of those energies. We are feeling the energies. And then we transmute them, which means we don't spit them out in exactly the same way where they will continue to cause the same cycles in the next generations, but we transmute it and we cut the cords so that it stops with us, with this generation that is alive right now, with all of these generations that are alive right now, so that it can actually stop, so that when this is over, we actually heal the trauma that is being caused right now, and we do not perpetuate that any longer. And while we do that collectively, and while we gather to form community, to do that in the big picture, and gather and bundle our resources to demand those changes and to facilitate them, we also do that within ourselves. We also do that within our small circles, within our one-to-one interactions, and we also do that with the interaction that you have to your own body, to your own being, to your own spirit. Cut through the cord of hatred towards yourself and invite in that compassion while taking new actions, while transmuting old resistances and allowing changes to occur and allowing yourself to evolve and to be part of the liberation that is happening right now. I feel there's so much more that could be said, but I'm going to stop this video here and let this settle, let this integrate, and trust in the process of the world, because what we deeply need right now is trust. We need to keep that sacred flame alive so that we can continue to be alive, so that we can continue to foster emotions of joy and love and celebration, while we are also feeling the pain and the anger, and while we are also stopping our day-to-day business to take actions to stop what is going on in the world. We also need to keep the sacred flame of life alive and to nourish it, and it needs different kinds of nutrients. We need to look at our peers and see where everyone is trying to do their best, while we speak out about the improvements we find necessary. We also understand how to speak that with love, how to educate with love, how to educate from a place of true compassion and from a place of true inclusiveness, where while educating and while demanding and while liberating ourselves from oppression and trying to help liberate others from their oppression, we don't become oppressors in the process. I wish to each and every one of you that you will find a moment each day of your life, just at least a moment, to feel love for yourself and for life, to feel compassion for yourself and for life, to be able to access that as a source of strength, as a resource, and as a tool to utilize, an energetic frequency to resonate with, to resonate into your field. I truly wish that together as a whole globe of Earth beings, we're finding ways to keep feeling that love for each other, for ourselves, for life. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like or comment something you would like to share so that we can learn from each other, we can inspire each other. I feel that every single person has wisdom to share. I would be super grateful if you want to share some of that wisdom with me, with us, with people reading it in the comments, and to share this message with people that you care about. I hope to see you next time. If you're interested in receiving guidance about your personal situations right now, you can reach out to me for a reading. All of my information is linked below. And I will see you next time when we have a new moon and a new level of awareness. Until then, goodbye.